Hi, how are you all doing today? My name is Alexa Newman, and I am a youth services librarian at the Algonquin Public Library. I am here today because the librarians, we were asked to give book talks to you all about the 2021 Bluestem Award nominees. So I am here to talk about each of the books, give you a brief little summary about them, and hopefully it'll help you making decisions whether or not you would like to read the books. Okay, this first book is actually called Bob, and it is by Wendy Mass and Rebecca Stead, who are both very well-known authors. It's published by Squarefish Publishers, and Rebecca has actually gotten a couple of Newbery Awards, including When You Reach Me and Liar and Spy. And Wendy Mass has written a couple of my favorite books, actually. One was called A Mango-Shaped Space. Another one was called Every Soul a Star. Well, Bob is a collaboration between the two of them. Now, this is a classic middle grade tale of magic and friendship. It's about a girl who helps an old friend find a home. And like I said, it's by New York Times best-selling authors Wendy Mass and Rebecca Stead. Now, it's been 5 years since Livy and her family have visited Livy's grandmother in Australia. Now that she's back, Livy has the feeling that she's forgotten something about Gran's house. And it turns out she's right. Bob, a short greenish creature dressed in a chicken suit, didn't forget Livy or her promise. He's been waiting 5 years for her to come back, hiding in a closet like she told him to. He can't remember who or what he is, where he came from, or if he even has a family. But 5 years ago, Livy promised she would help him find his way back home. Now it's time to keep that promise. That sounds like a really interesting book. And you have to add that to my list to read, I think. Okay, next book, moving on. The Ambrose Deception. This is by Emily Ecton, and it was published by Disney Hyperion. This is a fast-paced, believable yet very twisty read. It's going to keep you guessing until the very end. Melissa is a nobody. Wilf is a slacker. Bondi is a show-off. At least that's what their middle school teachers think. To everyone's surprise, they are the 3 students chosen to compete for a $10,000 scholarship, solving clues that lead them to various locations around Chicago. At first, the 3 contestants work independently, but it doesn't take long before each begins to wonder whether the competition is a sham. It's only by secretly joining forces and using their unique talents that the trio is able to uncover the truth behind the Ambrose deception. A truth that involves a lot more than just a scholarship. So it'll be interesting to see if you read this, if you recognize any of the places around Chicago that they are hunting out clues. So that's another good, fun, fast-paced read. Okay. Next up is Finding Langston. This is by Lisa Klein Ransom. And this book has gotten a bunch of awards. It got the Scott Odell Award for Historical Fiction. It was a Coretta Scott King Author Honor Book. It was also Junior Library Guild selection, and it was a Kids Indie Next Pick. It's published by Holiday House. It's a pretty fast, short read, and there's a sequel. So this book is about Langston. When 11-year-old Langston's mother dies in 1946, he and his father leave rural Alabama for Chicago's Brown Belt as a part of what came to be known as the Great Migration. Well, it's really lonely in the small apartment with just the two of them. And at school, Langston is bullied. But his new home has one fantastic thing. Unlike the whites-only library in Alabama, the local public library welcomes everyone. There, hiding out after school, Langston discovers another Langston, a poet whom he learns inspired his mother enough to name her only son after him. I'm going to move on now to Hope in the Holler. This book was by Lisa Lewis Tyree, published by Puffin Penguin. Other books written by this author include Last in a Long Line of Rebels. She writes about the American South, Appalachia. And this book is about a young girl. Now, right before Wavy's mother died, she gave Wavy a list of instructions to help her find her way in life. And it included this one: be brave, Wavy Bee. You got as much right to a good life as anybody, so find it. But little did Wavy's mom know that events would conspire to bring Wavy back to Conley Hollow, the Appalachian hometown her mother tried to leave behind. Now Wavy's back in the holler and in the clutches of her aunt, Samantha Rose. Life with the devilish Samantha Rose and her revolting cousin Hoyt is no picnic. But there is real pleasure in sleeping in her own mother's old bed and making friends with the funny, easygoing kids her aunt calls the neighborhood no-accounts. With their help, Wavy just might be able to prevent her aunt from becoming her legal guardian and to find her courage and place in the world. Okay. Another fun book. This is the first book in a new series. The series is called Love, Sugar, Magic, and it's by Anna Manana. It's published by Walden Pond Press, which is an imprint of HarperCollins. Leonora Logroño's family owns the most beloved bakery in Rose Hill, Texas. They spend their days conjuring delicious cookies and cakes for any occasion, and no occasion is more important than the annual Dia de los Muertos festival. Leo hopes that this might be the year that she gets to help prepare for the big celebration. But once again, she's told she's too young. Sneaking out of school and down to the bakery, she discovers that her mother, aunt, and 4 older sisters have, in fact, been keeping a big secret. They're brujas, witches of Mexican ancestry, and they pour a little bit of sweet magic into everything they bake. This is a good one for fans of graphic novels. I know there are a lot of you out there. This is Click. It's by Kayla Miller, and it is published by Houghton Mifflin Harcourt. Some of the other books which you may have read by Kayla Miller include Camp and Act, and also Presenting Cece's Big Break. So Olive and Willow are happy campers. Or are they? Olive is sure she'll have the best time at summer camp with her friend Willow. But when Olive makes quick friends with other campers, Willow is really struggling to form connections and latches onto the only person she knows, Olive. And it's more than Olive can handle. The stress of being Willow's living security blanket begins to wear on Olive, and before long, the girls aren't just fighting, they may not even be friends by the time camp is over. Will the two be able to patch things up before the final lights go out? You'll have to read it to find out. Okay. This is another exciting book by Joseph Bruchac, and it's illustrated by Liz Amini Holmes. It's called Chester Nez and the Unbreakable Code. It's a Navajo code talker story. Joseph Bruchac has written several other books. He wrote another one called Code Talker, which is about the same subject. It was a novel, slightly older reading level for this book, or higher reading level, but it was called Code Talker, a novel about two Navajo Marines of World War II. He wrote a book called Skeleton Man, The First Strawberries, Dragon Castle, and another one on Sacagawea. This book was actually a Sybil's Award finalist for elementary nonfiction. The book was published by Albert Whitman. And it's, like I said, about this man named Chester. And as a young Navajo boy, Chester Nez had to leave the reservation to attend boarding school, where he was taught that his native language and culture were useless. But Chester refused to give up his heritage. Years later, during World War II, Chester and other Navajo men like him were recruited by the U.S. Marines to use the Navajo language to create an unbreakable military code. Suddenly, that language he had been told to forget was needed to fight a war. This powerful picture book biography contains back matter, including a timeline and a portion of the Navajo Code, and also depicts the life of an original Navajo code talker while capturing the importance of heritage. Okay, this next book is by one of my favorite author illustrators, Steve Jenkins. You might be familiar with some of his other books. There are a lot of them that are really great. Some of them include What Do You Do with a Tail Like This, Actual Size, The Beetle Book, Eye to Eye, How Animals See the World. Lots of different great titles by him. This one is called Animals by the Numbers, and it was published by Houghton Mifflin Harcourt. Just some of the questions that they examine include: how many species are there across the globe? How much do all the insects in the world collectively weigh? How far can animals travel? Steve Jenkins answers these questions and many more with the numbers, images, innovation, and authoritative science in his latest work of illustrated nonfiction. Jenkins layers his signature cut paper illustrations alongside computer graphics and a text that is teeming with fresh, unexpected, and accurate zoological information, ready for readers to devour. The level of scientific research paired with Jenkins' creativity and accessible infographics is unmatched, and it is sure to wow fans old and new. And I'm just going to open up the pages so you could see some of the really cool graphics. And some of these pictures are actually life-size. But the data, he makes it just really interesting. This is like how many people are on the earth in terms of weight, how many insects are on the earth in terms of weight. how fast different animals can go. This one is about which animals are the noisiest, and some that you would think that were pretty loud. A frog is actually down there about the noise level of a lawnmower. Cicadas are like a fire truck. Got a bat that's as loud as a jet plane. And then there are things that are even louder, including a shrimp. Who would have thought a shrimp could be one of the loudest things on the planet? That's pretty interesting. So like I said, it's just full of really cool graphics and information and trivia. Okay. The last book I'm going to share with you is called Curiosity, The Story of a Mars Rover. And this is by Marcus Modem, and it is published by Candlewick Press. Okay, you see the book cover now. Discover the incredible story of search for life on Mars. It's told from the unique perspective of Curiosity, the Mars rover, which was sent to explore the red planet. Marcus Modem's stylish illustrations and diagrams reveal how a robot traveled 350 million miles to explore a planet where no human has ever been. So we've got pictures of everything from the rocket launch, the planning phase. There it is, leaving Earth's orbit. There is Curiosity landing on Mars, collecting data. There is just a ton of information packed into this book with some really interesting pictures. We have timelines, glossary, facts. It's another interesting, fairly fast read. So those are the titles that I was lucky enough to be able to share with you about this year's Bluestem nominees. I hope some of the titles, if not all of them, have piqued your interest into picking them up and reading further about them. Happy reading, everyone.